Good morning, all you Facebook and YouTube fans out there. It's actually about 5 minutes to noon, so good late morning. I've been out shopping around and getting more things that I need for the upcoming week. And as promised, I told you today that that we would be making some turnip greens, and I want you to look at the mess of greens I've got here. Hold on. Look here, people. This is a huge mess of turnip greens. Got some in the sink and some in a colander here in the sink. And what we're going to do is we're going to rinse these really, really well. Probably about 3 to 4 times, changing the water out. And we're going to try to get them really, really clean. They need to be really, really clean. And then we're going to get started at picking the stems off of them and get this process started. So I'm going to get started on this. I'm pretty sure you all can figure out how to rinse the greens in your sink or in a big pot. And so we're going to take care of that, and then we'll be right back to finish with that. To finish prepping them to get blanched and put into the jars for canning. Just wanted to show you all, for those who are not familiar with turnip greens, this is a turnip green leaf. It's very, very big, and this is what grows above ground, are these leaves, and they are referred to as turnip greens. This, of course, is the bottom, the root, and this is called a turnip. This is what grows underground. So we're going to be utilizing both of those in our canning process today. So I'm on my second round of washing. I'll be back in a bit. Alrighty, so I'm sure you've all heard a phrase, maybe you haven't, but in the South, especially I guess in the older days, it may happen today too, I don't know, but you'll hear somebody mention that they're going to pick a mess of greens. Well, these are the greens that I showed you, and what they mean is they're going to go through these leaves, and they're going to make sure they're clean, and they're going to break off the hard stem and get rid of the stem and keep the leaves. That's a good one because it's just a tiny little leaf. So this one looks pretty wilted. I'm going to get rid of that one. And this one looks good. Here's one that we can use as a good example. You'll see the stem is pretty thick all the way through to, you'll see where it kind of stops and becomes a little better. And we'll just pick the greens off that stem. And that's what they mean when they say pick. It doesn't mean go out in the garden and actually pick or cut the plant. It means that they're picking through and cleaning off getting rid of the hard stems and making sure that the leaves are clean. So as you can tell, that's going to be a bit of a lengthy process, and we will continue working with that and be back when we are all done. Alright everybody, so I got all these washed. Here's all the stems I ended up with that are left over, and I picked out some leaves like this one here, because they're supposed to be turnip greens, not turnip yellows. So you could, if you wanted to, you could use these to make you could freeze these to use later in a soup or stew, or you know, whatever you'd want to do with them, but I'm just going to throw them away because I don't have that much storage room. So there they go into the trash. And I washed all my turnips real good, gave them a good scrubbing, and I sliced them up, diced them up actually, and I just want to show you how I did that. Let's see if I can get a little closer. So I just took the turnip and I cut it in half, turn it over, and slice it, 2 or 3 times. You can make them as big or as small as you like. Then I took these center pieces and sliced them. And then I turn those around and I slice those into squares. Trying to be uniform. It really doesn't matter though. Like I said, you can cut them as big or as small as you want. There used to be a restaurant here locally in Tucson, Arizona called Po Folks that mostly served southern fried everything. And that's where my mother introduced me to turnip greens. And they served their turnip greens, and they were all diced up like this little tiny cube cooked into the greens. And let's get these center pieces again, line them up, cut them into strips. Try to line them up a bit. Since then I have tried other things. I love fresh spinach that's been cooked down. Oh, I didn't show you the greens. Let me finish this and I'll show you what I ended up with as far as the greens. So yeah, I've tried fresh spinach. I love that. And fresh spinach. I've tried mustard greens. I love collard greens. And a lot of people online, when I was looking at this, they will mix their turnip greens with mustard greens. So there we go. We've got all our turnips diced up. So out of all of those greens, here's what I ended up with. Now this is a, I forget how big a bowl. This is an 8-quart bowl filled up with greens. It looks like a lot of greens. But once we put these in the water and start to blanch them, they're going to wilt down just like a spinach does. And they'll wilt way down. So we're going to get started on that. I've got my jars in the water bath canner sterilizing. And we're just going to wait for those to finish. And then we'll get started. This is going to have to require pressure cooking. So I'll pull the pressure canner out and get it ready. And we'll get through this process. So I'll see you in a bit. Once we start to cook down the greens. Alrighty. Alrighty, so I'm just waiting for the water in this pot to come up to a boil so we can start blanching these turnip greens. Got my lids in here all sterilized. My jars are out of the water bath canner and sitting on the chopping board or chopping block, whatever you want to call it, ready to get filled. And we'll get the jars filled up, put some greens in them, put some of the turnips in them, and get them all sealed up and put them in the pressure canner here in a bit. Alrighty, this is about to come to a boil. So I'm going to get the greens over here. And I'm just going to start adding some, little by little, to the pot. Come here. That's good for now. Go ahead and press them down into the water. Alexa, set a timer for 3 minutes. Alexa, set a timer for 3 minutes.
3 minutes, starting now.
You can see they're already wilting. If you've never tried turnip greens, I encourage you to give it a try. Any greens at all. I'm not a real big fan of kale greens. I find them a bit bitter, but I do like spinach greens, mustard greens, turnip greens, collard greens. They're all just, what I like about them is, especially the first bite, if you've not had them in a while, it tastes so earthy, so wholesome, so good. So, I saw someone online the other day that gave me a tip, because I've always been sterilizing the jars in water in a water bath canner, and then I take the jars out and throw the water away. Well, I just used all that electricity and energy to heat this water up to a boil, almost, and now it's turned off, but it's still hot, and I'm going to use that water when I get the jars into the pressure canner. I'm going to use this water to pour into the pressure canner so that I don't have to heat cold water all the way back up to a boiling point. So, oh, I wish you could smell them. Oh, they smell so good. They really, really do. Now we're going to can these just plain. A little bit of salt in the jar, 1/4 teaspoon per pint. And then when we get ready to cook them, we can add some ham or some ham hocks. Or I've seen people use turkey necks and things like that, smoked turkey necks. And we can add some people like to put vinegar on their greens. I've never been a fan of that, but I've never really tried it. So maybe we'll give that a try. And then you can add a little bit of smoke flavoring if you like. I have this stuff that you can get in the store, and it is called liquid smoke. And you just add a little bit of it to a dish, and it gives it a smoky flavor. Alexa, how much time is left?
You have less than 10 seconds left on your 3-minute timer.
Alrighty. Alexa, stop. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these. Since they've wilted down, I'm going to try to get rid of as much water as possible. Now the liquid that is a result of blanching these greens. Down in the South, they call that pot liquor. I don't know how that term came around, but that's what they call it, pot liquor. Okay, there's those. Now we're going to put in another bunch. Ouch. There's one fell down to the side. Don't want to lose any. No, sir, not after all that hard work. Alexa, set a greens timer for 3 minutes.
Greens timer, 3 minutes, starting now.
Alrighty, I will be back once we have these all blanched, and we'll start canning them. Alrighty, we're almost there. The last bunch is in here. There's just less than a minute left. Oh, it smells so good.
Your greens timer is done.
Alexa, stop. Be right with you guys. Turn you around so you can see what I'm doing. Got another beautiful day here in Tucson, Arizona. Alrighty. So I've got a colander in the sink because I want to drain these a little bit. Get as much water off them as I can. You see how you see how they're coming out still in really, really, really big pieces? We're going to take care of that in just a sec. Now these only blanched for about 3 minutes each batch. And but you got to remember they're going to cook in the pressure cooker while they're canning, so they'll get even more tender because they've got to pressure can for an hour and a half. Hard to get all these little leaves out of here. Okay, stop. Almost got it here. Yeah, that'll do it. get them drained real good. Doesn't really matter, they're going to have a liquid in them anyway. So I went ahead and poured these back into the big pot, or the big bowl that I've got here. And now I'm going to take a knife, maybe a couple knives, and I'm just going to go through and chop them up a bit. Because you don't want to eat them the way they are with all those big pieces in them. At least I like mine a little smaller. Alright, that should do it. Alrighty, so let me move this back over here. And we're going to get started with filling these jars up. Okay, so here is what we're going to do. One set of directions online said to pack lightly, and another one says to pack heavy. So I think I'll pack lightly. There we go. I've got 8 pints here. Don't know if we'll need all 8. There. Well, actually, I am kind of packing heavy, aren't I? So there's that. I'm going to use a bowl or a spoon. Put a few turnip greens in there. I got too many there. There we go. Then we'll get the spinach. This one. Spinach. Turnip greens. We'll get the greens in this jar. Not gonna lose anything. Nope. No, sir. Just a few more. There we go. A few turnips. Come on. They're already getting some water that's already in them, so I don't think we'll have to add much more water to them. All right, turn that off. And let's see, that's 4. And there's not much left here. Alrighty. And since this one's lacking, we'll fill it up with turnips. There we go. Alrighty. So now I'm going to get my ladle. And we're going to put water in these. Leaving about a 1-inch head space. And I'm using the pot liquor. The water I used to boil them. Oop, that one got too much. Let's pour some out of this one. There we go. Got quite a few turnips left over. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to check to see if those can be frozen for later use. Now if I can find the kitchen rag that I had out, I'll just get another one. I want to wipe these down. Oh, first I want to try to get all the bubbles out. Now I'm putting these turnips in here raw because they will cook during the canning process. So all of that work, and we ended up with five pints. This one needs some more water now. Oh no, there we go. That's got good amount of water. They've all got a good amount of water in them now. So I'm going to wipe down the lids. So I can move this back just a bit. On a nice cold day in January or February, these will be so good as a dinner with just some cornbread and put the lids on them. Ready? All right, here's what we got to do now. We'll let those lids dry off. Oh, move that over here. Oh, by the way, the salt that I put in the jars was canning salt, not table salt. So let me get my pressure canner out. There we go. Alrighty. And I'm going to go ahead and put my jars in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You know what I can do? Yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and can just these turnips in my leftover jars because I prepared 8. Because I can always buy the greens later. Then I'll have turnips to put in the greens. Looks like it may work out to be just about perfect. That'll do. What do you know? Ain't I a genius? There we go. Sorry I'm doing this off camera, but it was a last minute decision. Come on, let go. Got two lid tops that stuck together. See? And we got 3 jars of just canned turnips. So that should be perfect. Alrighty, now I'm going to take water from here, pour it in here. Only need about 2 to 3 inches. That should do it. Set this over here. We shall put the lid on here and put it on high. There it goes again. You know me, clean as I go. Alrighty, so we're going to wait for this to come up to pressure. It has to pressurize for, well, you know the routine. It's got a vent for 10 minutes, steam vent for 10 minutes, and then we process it at, let's see, spinach and other greens dial gauge, okay. And then we've got to process it at 12 pounds per square inch for 70 minutes for an hour and a half. So, oh, not an hour and a half, I'm sorry, for an hour and 10 minutes. So, I'll be back when it's done steam venting. Alrighty. Alright everybody, so the canner is up to pressure. So now we just have to let this process for the hour and 10 minutes. And then we'll have us some good turnip greens and turnips and pot liquor ready for a nice cold day. So I'll see you in about an hour and a half, or about an hour and 10 minutes. Alrighty, bye-bye. Hey everybody, so the canning process is all done with the turnip greens. So we're going to see what we've got here. Go ahead and remove the weight. And we're going to open the top. Oh, smells heavenly. That's not going to go there, so I'll just set it there for now. Ooh-dee-doo-dee-doo. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take these out. There we go. 5 pints of turnip greens with turnips and 3 pints of just plain turnips for in the future. Alrighty, so let's take a look. There you go. Nice turnip greens and turnips. Whoop. Alrighty, so that concludes that process of canning turnip greens. And In a few minutes here, I'm going to get started on the salsa verde. So make sure you stay tuned for that as well. And if you can't, then I'm going to wish you well. Remember, life is beautiful. Bon appetit. And have a good evening. And we'll see you in the next video. Alrighty, bye-bye.